What's up, everybody? Shawn here with another Live to Roll. We got a fun show for you guys today. So we'll go ahead and get into some introductions and kind of get right into Deb's story here. So I am Sean Fluke. I am a C5, C6 quadriplegic from a snowboarding accident. Bobby, you want to go ahead and then let Deb?
Yeah, I'm Bobby Rohan, same as Shawn, C5, C6, except I was in a bicycle accident 36 years ago. And enough about us two numbskulls. Let's move it over to our guest. She seems very special. As before the show started, we were talking with her, but you like to introduce yourself, I guess. Diamond Deb, is that a Diamond Deb?
Howdy, y'all. I'm Diamond. I go by Diamond Debbie now because everybody loves to call you Debbie. And I'm live in Austin, Texas. I moved here 10 years ago. I was in my wheelchair going across the street in my neighborhood 7 years ago, and I got hit by a car in my wheelchair, but it was a Tesla, and the Tesla got messed up because I was in my quantum. And but I became what I learned just a couple of days ago was uh, uh, I was a had mono paralysis because it was one leg for a while. There was a time when I couldn't put a sheet on my leg; it hurt so bad because I thought when you were paralyzed you didn't have any feeling, but I learned you can have a lot. But when I moved to Austin 10 years ago, I moved into independent senior living for disabled people, in the northwest part of Austin, and the first year, I was afraid to come out of my room for fear they'd find out how sick I was and put me in a nursing home. I couldn't feed myself. I could barely talk because I was so medicated. And I got really poor. And the bus driver, I drive full transit, didn't know anybody here in Austin, but I always wanted to live here because of the music. And so the bus driver told me about this place called the Shack one day, and you guys talk about peer support. Well, this is peer support for people with mental health, but everyone there had some sort of mobility challenge, whether you had cerebral palsy or whether you had Parkinson's like me, or whether you were an amputee, maybe, or sorry, leg different, I guess we're supposed to say. I'm trying to be better, but it's hard not to be ableist still because there's so much diversity in us, you know. And I think that was the thing that was the most beautiful to me was being around other people like me. Because for so long I was isolated and medicated, sedated, and it's a very lonely life. And when I was the first day I went to Shack, there was another girl with the Quantum, which is the brand of wheelchair I have, and it was the exact same one. And I dropped my phone, and she told me about this particular brand, the Otterbox, that kept it from getting run over. But that day, I saw somebody that looked worse than me, right? Because I mean, you always think you're the worst one in the world, right? If everyone around you is able-bodied and not hurt, you just think you're just like this monster, right? So I looked over, and it wasn't that they were necessarily worse than me, but they had different combinations that I thought would be worse, like Parkinson's and blind, or you know what I mean. There's always something worse, and that gave me a lot of perspective. And as I went there, I learned that I was allergic to some of those medicines that they were giving me. And as I got off of them by using peer support and learning other wellness tools at the Shack, I started getting better and could walk again. I have had six spinal surgeries so far. I have my entire neck is in a fuse because of the dyskinesia. My lower back from L3 to S2 is fused from the car wreck. That was a second surgery. And then my mid back got a cyst in it because I slept walk and fell over a walker. But so when I went into a nursing home for a while because I got such a terrible infection called osteomyelitis. That's a form of MRSA. I think you said you were familiar with that yesterday, Sean. And so I about died from it, and I had a PIC line for about 6 weeks. But when I came back out, I was just like, COVID had hit, and I had never heard of COVID because poor people, old people, we don't have TV. So when I heard about it, I've been in AA for 30 years, and they talked about COVID, right? And I thought it was a joke about Mexican beer being worse to kill you. And so it took me a long time to figure out there was even anything dangerous going on when I got out in 2019. Right after that, the city shut down, and I started working at the shack as a volunteer for resource director and later the front desk. And I got my skills back. And then in 2016, I started writing a book about all the people at the shack because I looked around and everybody was getting so much better. I mean, you go in and you think, oh, I couldn't even come 2 days. And you end up working there after a few years because your heart is in there helping other people. And when you have a way of participating and sharing, you just want to be there and you're stronger, you know? And so I wrote this book and it didn't get a lot of sales, which we really didn't expect that because it was so local and it was pandemic and you couldn't go out and sell it or anything. So I was like, I don't know, what am I going to do? So I started writing my second book. This was in 2022. And it's Debbie Does Austin by Wheelchair, which I was 16 when that movie came out. And so, like, every time someone said Debbie in college, everybody would laugh. And so I really hated bringing it back out at all, but it's such a catchy title. And in writing the book, I became an advocate with the city, fighting for accessibility in public transportation. We have increased the hours that our service is available. I was an advocate so that people that had no permanent address also could use the paratransit service because many are disabled that are homeless, and so that was really important to me. And then I started trying to do music because this is the music capital of the world, right? And then I heard, okay, it started out February 14th in 23. I got stood up for a date by a guy in a wheelchair with no legs. I mean, that is like the most humiliating thing in the world, right? You get stood up by a guy who can't stand up. and like, and like I
That's
had
in your
planned
act. I think that's in your
That's
comedy act.
I had planned on going home with him, right? Because we had talked, right? And his show was called Bring Your Own Vinyl, and I thought that meant something I need to bring with me, you know. And I had my diapers for the way home, and all this stuff. And I had to take the fixture out home because he ghosted me. I found out later he had COVID and rescheduled, but it was just like so humiliating. But there was an open mic there that night. And so I double dog dared myself to go up there because he wasn't there, and I'm going to do something. And so the first week I was going to tell the jokes from this book. The second week, I went back to tell the jokes I couldn't tell from the book that were a little spicy. And by the third week, I was hooked. But the third week was the fifth anniversary of getting hit by the car. And I didn't feel real comfortable going out. So I went to my neighborhood mic. And this was my third, well, actually my fourth mic because I did one in 2018, the month I got hit by the car. And so I went and while I was there, a man at the bar came up to me and told me about this Kill Tony show. Now, I'd never heard of it. It's a sausage fest, right? But it's the number one comedy show in America, right? And so, or in the world. And so he said, look at episode 500. Now, I'm a big Ron White fan. Ron White was on that episode and he was sober. So I figured that was the end of the world. So I could probably do it if he could. So it made me really brave. And I started signing up for the Kill Tony show, right? And Kill Tony, if you don't know about it, it's like the America's Got Talent, where they brought the comedy store from LA to 6th Street, and a famous comedian, Joe Rogan, bought a club called that used to be a brothel and circus and everything else, and put the mothership in, which is supposed to be the best performance place. And people from all over the country are moving here to do comedy because of the opportunities that we have, and they're flying in, and maybe they get picked, maybe they don't. But I took paratransit. It didn't cost me anything to try out, so I'm not flying in. But so it's really changed my life. That I do 4 new minutes I write every week at my local mic, and that's really what I recommend to everyone. Is that if you want to do comedy, start in your local neighborhood. Go there. You don't have to be great. You can do it your first time and just try it. If you're like me and you've been like where you're supposed to be quiet and everybody that you talk to is getting paid to listen to you like a doctor, you get on stage and you get 4 whole minutes and everybody has to shut up. Oh, that's great.
So,
So anyway, that's
Debbie,
me.
you're making our job way too easy because we got to ask questions. And I was wondering if we can get a baseline and start from the beginning. So, because you brought up something that you were in a chair and you got hit by this Tesla. What put you in the chair to begin in the first place? Tell us, start from the beginning and how long ago.
Well, okay. First of all, I had the world's record for the largest cyst that was ever found in a live human being for 2 days till they found it in somebody else bigger. That was my
Ouch.
first experience with cancer at 13, and I was 17 by the time anybody believed me cut it out. So that was hard. I was in a lot of pain growing up. I would
And where
pass
was
out.
that? Where was your assist?
It was an ovarian. It was the size of a football, but I still the doctor was real young, and I still was able to have my daughter later. It was great that way, but then Parkinson's came in because of psychiatric medication that was overprescribed. When you don't have any family members or anybody, and you go into the doctor for maybe 15 minutes, they just give you ABC medicine for XYZ, diagnoses, and they didn't really know much about stuff back then. And so if you kept talking, they just kept giving you more till you shut up, and it took a lot for me. So I got Parkinson's from a combination probably of Haldol, Seroquel, Thorazine, I mean, you name it, they gave it to me
And
all at once.
do you want to tell our audience, because we don't, I think you're probably the first of somebody that has Parkinson's on our show as a guest. If you want to tell a little bit about what Parkinson's is and what it does to you.
Oh, okay. Parkinson's causes a dopamine insufficiency in my brain, and it causes spasticity. And I got something called tardive dyskinesia that goes along with that usually. Because I got off the medications, mine will not progress probably as much as some other people that you see that have what's called Lewy body disease now. That's a generic or genetic disease, right? Mine is not contagious, but I got it from being poisoned basically long term from these medications. And so I'm in the wheelchair because of the spinal injuries and also because of a fall risk. I walk inside some if I'm near a wall because if I fall, it's like Michael J. Fox came out this year and said, "You
Yeah.
don't die from Parkinson's, you live with Parkinson's until you fall down and then you die." So it's kind of confusing to people. It's like I get a lot of time from the stage of faking it, which really hurts my feelings. And so I've had to learn to come up with some quick comebacks for that.
Well, my actually, my mom had just recently passed away about 7 months ago. Yeah, about
Okay.
7 months ago from Parkinson's, and it still was somewhat the base of the cause because it had progressed so much to weaken her that uh, she wasn't able to gain the strength of standing up and getting weaker and weaker because of hers. And you probably know more than anybody about those meds. They do, they're pretty heavy on you, and it
Yeah.
can make you very tired. And that's what it was doing to my mom. Unfortunately, it just finally got to her after 35 years. So she was a trooper for it.
Yeah, I've had it over 30 years now, but I go to the gym, I do physical therapy. I mean, I never stopped dancing even when my leg was paralyzed. I just always did the top half.
That's, that's
That's
good.
great.
Yeah, no, staying active, staying moving, that's definitely important. And I know you had also mentioned one of the things before we were coming on about your independence and how much more independent you are in a power chair and stuff. Are you able to, with your Parkinson's stuff, to be fully independent? Do you need care aids? Do you need help? What?
I live alone, and if I could not get out of the chair to the toilet, out of the chair to the bed, I could not live independently. So that is the main thing that I have to focus on, bottom line. But I live alone with my service dog, and she's a psychiatric service dog. That means we're both crazy. But so we she keeps me a lot of company, and a lot of it is the loneliness and stuff that is an issue. But it was really hard to get my second share. My first one came very easily when I got diagnosed. After hush, after my first,
Well, your dog saying, "Hey,
She
introduce
heard,
me." Introduce
they
me.
heard you talking. Uh,
her name is Totally Blue, and she goes on stage with me sometimes.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you have your dog, and it's you, and you're independent. Is we're affected, and we talk a lot about our bowel and bladder. How's that? Do you have any
Oh, I
issues
wear
with them?
the baby. Actually, I don't wear
What?
the pins because they're the expensive brand. I don't have a husband to pay for my diapers, so I have to get them from Walmart.
Yeah,
But it's like
but, but you do
when
have a little bit of issues of like leaking, or you get
incontinence. Yeah.
yeah.
oh, anytime I go somewhere, I'm on the bus a minimum of 6 hours. People downtown do not like to let you use the bathroom if you look homeless, and I always got bags on the back. So I cannot get somebody to let me use the bathroom. Now I have worn long skirts and changed diapers at a bus stop, and they never knew, right? Because you just anyway. Yeah, I'm pretty creative, but anytime I go somewhere, people complain about driving 20 minutes across town to see me. I have few people even come see me, but I'll take a bus for 2 hours to come see you. You know, that's just how it is. My family lives far away. I don't know, maybe but three people that actually drive cars. Almost everybody else is either very, very poor or disabled because my friends are in my community. I live in a very newer part of suburban Austin, so the sidewalks are pretty new, and so I can drive my wheelchair, my baby motorcycle, I call it, to the Walmart to get my food, to the doctor near me. Um, a lot of independence, and I've taught other people how to use their wheelchair. I'm a real advocate for people getting out and being part of the community. We talk about, they think about we can volunteer, we can be a part of. And that's what drives me the most, the passion of helping others like myself. I like to say I stand up for those who can't because I can stand up sometimes. I recently had an ADA violation. I went to the Austin Transit Partnership and they started to bring me a microphone. I said, nope, I got a leg to stand on today. And they all started laughing. But, it's like that. I want to be as independent as I can, but I also know one fall and it's over. You know,
Yeah.
that's just the bottom line. So yeah, I just have to try and make good choices. This heat down here is very extreme, but I'm out in it all the time. And there's very little time in Austin you can't be outside in a wheelchair. I'm out 365 days a year. It's the best place of all, I think.
I was going to
And
ask you on that.
go
Oh,
ahead, Chuck. Go for
I
it.
was going to ask because you mentioned the heat and Texas. I know can get hot. Like Bobby and I don't actually sweat because of our injury, so dealing with the heat's very difficult. But for you, do you have difficulties? Dealing with
I
the
use
heat. Do you do to try to stay cool while you're out on a 2 hour
I
bus
get
ride
a baby
in Texas?
stroller fan, and that looks like an alien that I put up here, and I put it right here behind my head, and then it blows on my neck. And my dog is smarter than me. She'll get in the shade. I'll sit up in the sun at the bus stop and get over in the shade. But it's really not that hot if you're in the shade and you're used to the weather. It's when
Yeah.
you don't go outside. And one of my favorite things is take my wheelchair out in the woods next to me and put a hammock up from my wheelchair and lay in it. Because all that time I laid in the hospital looking at these white walls for months, and to see trees was gorgeous. And so I just love being able to do things like that.
Uh, that's nice. That's nice.
But
And so,
I,
I mean, Austin, is it like Houston? And I've been to Houston, as I was telling you before the show. their transit was amazing, and I caught the subway, even though it's not underground, but from place to place, and I just found it amazing to get downtown to the other side of downtown. Is that Austin is similar to where you?
NoCapMetro.org. It's the same company over both cities. And yes, it's even better here, but don't tell
Wow. So
them.
that's great. So you really immersed yourself in the city of it, being independent and using public transportation, which out
It's
here
my
where Shawn and I are, good
Yeah.
luck to that. Unless you're one of our friends, Ken, and then he gets around. But it's tough. It's a big area, and I don't know. And I know Austin is a little bit smaller than some of these bigger areas, but that's great that you've really grasped of your surroundings and made it independent for yourself. For the disabled, do they have discounts for you
It,
to do the to they do the metro?
where I went that first day, it's half price, which is $1.25, or you can get a bus pass for $23 a month from the Shack, which is half
Okay.
price. You can't beat that. You can't even take a cab across town for that
Yeah.
once and back, you
That's
know.
good.
And I advocated so that if a person moves here and they register with Echo as homeless when they get here before they get an apartment, they get to ride for free for 2 years. Go Metro.
Oh, wow.
And because I couldn't live in my apartment for a while because it was not safe, I qualified for it too, so I ride for free.
Nice.
Okay, that's
That's
So
cool.
great.
hat,
Good to know.
special hat. Yeah,
So you were telling us about you said 5 years ago, you're rolling down the street and you get hit by a Tesla. Is this correct?
it was 7 years ago, and you know what
7 years.
that means? Credit's going to improve now.
So
You'd
what
think
you want to tell
it
us a little bit about what happened?
come out financially well, but no, the insurance company paid the insurance company. I could not even get a well woman exam afterwards because your file gets marked car wreck, and they expect the car company to pay for everything, which if you're in a wheelchair, they pay for nothing. So it was quite an experience. I had to have a GoFundMe to get my chair fixed, which I still have. I'm never. It's over here. I'm never getting rid of my Q6. I mean, if you can get hit by a Tesla and live, you don't want to get rid of that or that brand ever, right? And the chair has a steel frame around it. It's the only one that's WC19 DOT approved, crash test approved by Tesla and me. But when I got hit, my chair hit the curb and went flying. I flew out of it and landed on my feet. And I couldn't even walk back then, but I was standing up. The chair was laying down, and I had been carrying my big book in my hand because, I'm proselytizing because that's what we do. And I still had it in my hand and I was standing up. And I like to joke that, it couldn't have been Bill Wilson, the founder of AA. It had to be his wife, Lois, because he was probably too full of himself to be paying attention. But I do know Angel's got me because I didn't have a scratch on me from that accident. And,
Oh,
I keep thinking if Elon Musk had been driving, I'd have never got hurt, because Teslas don't hit steel trash cans. But this dentist was driving himself, and he said the sun was in his eyes, but he had to get in there. First thing I did was to see if it was being navigated or if he was driving it. Because I was like, "Ooh, that sounds good." But nah, it does not pay to get hit by a car in your wheelchair
oh,
ever.
yeah, I bet. Were you in a crosswalk or?
Nope, 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 nope. I
I,
decided to cut across in a cutout, and the cars were at the light, and they had stopped. I thought, and a car came out at the same time I did, and when I got halfway across, I stopped and was waiting there at the median, and he ran right through the median in that turn lane. So he wanted to go straight. I guess he freaked out when he saw me and went the wrong. I don't know. It was. I'm sure he didn't have time to think much either. But yeah, it was. The fire truck took my wheelchair away. The ambulance took me. He got his car turned around where it wasn't facing the sun, and told him he hit an object in the road. I wasn't even there, so it was rough. Yeah.
yeah. So, but you didn't sustain any injuries. It sounds like, right?
Oh yeah, my spine was injured inside.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought
This
you
is
said I was standing
I
up
got
and I was hitting
moved
things.
around like this when I hit. Yeah, it was not good for the L3 to S1. They already had fused.
Oh, did you have to have surgery again?
Yeah, they had to do the not minimally, but the deep spinal surgery, and that's when I caught the osteomyelitis.
Oh, yeah. Which is kind of common for women, correct?
I don't know. It's the just the medicine for it used to kill people until the last 5 or 10 years. So I got very lucky. But when I came out of that, I was like, COVID, nothing. I'm fine. Let me go to work. And I really enjoyed being out, while the whole city was shut down. I just felt fearless. I feel that way today because I'm like the only person driving my wheelchair the way I do. And so it's like, there's no rules yet. In England and other places, there's all kinds of rules for how you can drive, when you can drive. The only thing in Austin right now is you can't drive a scooter like on the bike path, but wheelchairs don't count. So I can go through the nature trails. I can go on the e-bike lanes. Other cities can't do the e-bike lanes unless they have staff separating them. But here it's like free reign. So I have three quantum, and I spent the last 3 years researching everything you could do in the chair, and to have well almost I have not had a boyfriend in 20 years, but
You haven't had a
everything.
what? You
I
haven't
haven't
had
had
a
a
what?
I haven't tried everything you can do to chair, but I have tried taking it on the train, using every form of public transportation here in Austin, and then driving it myself wherever I want to go. My longest trip was a 10-hour round trip to Round Rock for a medical appointment. And I didn't think I could ever get there, so the day I did, I was real proud of myself. And I
That's
had to do Zoom meetings, but I had
Zoom.
to sign in person.
Yeah,
great.
that
Yeah,
is what I was
that's
going to actually
great.
mention. One thing about about your wheelchair driving that Bobby and I had mentioned before you had hopped on. Because we saw your Instagram video trying to go up the ramp to the stage and kind of taking a little detour
Kind
off
of
to the side.
veered a little bit to the right.
I got to tell you about these ramps. Okay, so for 2 years I performed below like the orchestra pit, and when you actually get this gig, you got this light in your face, right? So if I never got to practice with it, I used to make a joke about I had to drive into the headlights of cars so I could practice. So for 2 years I made brownies, made happy brownies, and took donations for them because that's not legal in Texas, and saved up money and bought two ramps. They're called Black Widow, which should have told me something, but they're ATV so that I could get in the back of a pickup truck or wherever. But the guys, the first, I don't know, 4 or 5 times I used them, the guys knew to stand on the base so that when I drove up, so they didn't slip. These guys this week decided to stand beside me at the top, and I didn't know nobody was behind me. So when I started up, it wasn't flat, so it went like this. And I had been trying to tell the mothership that I thought it was dangerous because if one tilted, I'd flip, right? And
Yeah,
so anyway, the guy caught me. I was more worried about him because that Twitter and I weighed over 500 pounds together. But
yeah.
yeah. So
It
but
was, it
I
was,
take
it was.
the ramps. I take the ramps in a baby cart, like a baby stroller, that I put them in a box strapped up with uh, bungee cords, right? I never have to touch them. I take them up. I drive them. I push the baby stroller in my wheelchair, driving, right? Because I'm good like that. And put them on the bus. The bus driver helps me take them off. I drive them into the bar. The guys get them out for me, set them up. It's the one time I'm glad there's almost all guys there in comedy because they're very helpful. But they put my ramps up for me and they pack them back up, and I just drive them back in the baby carriage the next week. But yeah, I'm very independent. I mean, I carry my own ramps too. I used to play bass guitar in high school, and I always carried my own amp. I I was. If you're going to be one of the guys, you got to carry your own stuff. That's just the way I was raised.
So we've had a few comedians on before, and you say you watch the show, so I'm not sure if you caught them, but um, and in your introduction, you were kind of giving us a brief history about that. But tell us about what got you into comedy. When did you start, and where do you wish it to go?
Well, in 2022, I or 2023 on Valentine's Day, I had a date, and the guy was had no legs from an accident that he'd been in.
Yeah.
So he'd asked me out like 2 or 3 times. So I'm thinking this is a thing, right? So I show up at the bar and I take paratransit, and he's a no-show, right? And they had a comedy thing going on that night, so I double dog dared myself to do the comedy. And the first week, I tried out the jokes from the book I've been writing, Debbie Does Austin by Wheelchair. And then the next week, I came back and I'm like, what are the jokes I can't tell in this book because it'd be too adult, right? And by the third week, I was just hooked on it. And so I did the mic in my neighborhood instead of the one that I was doing downtown that third time. And when I was there, a man at the bar asked me if I'd heard about Kill Tony. And he said, well, if you're any good, you got a real chance. And people kept talking about it like the gold rush. I call it the fool's gold rush because people are moving here from everywhere. But like some of the people
Well,
that have made
so
it on the show,
Debbie, um,
yeah,
what was it called? Uh,
it's called
Fools
the Kill Tony podcast.
till
Kill,
Tony podcast.
Kill
Okay,
Tony. But some of the people that have made like the golden ticket, which is what you want to get if you're disabled, and other people hate you if you're disabled. It's so funny. I've never been had people jealous of me for being in a wheelchair, but they somehow seem to think if you get on, you got it easy. Like there's nothing easy about taking a bus for 6 hours to show up and putting my makeup on in the street, But they seem
right.
to think it's simple. But if you
It,
do get picked for a golden ticket, you could be touring and playing Madison Square Garden and pulling out 50 grand a weekend. That's the
so
payoff.
is that your end goal? Is to kind of be like a like really grow your comedy career? Uh,
Well, I'm not real sure where it's going to go. I love to write, and this book has been really fun, and I love to speak. I was doing a lot of positive speaking about disability awareness and recovery before this. But you can talk for an hour, but all they remember is the jokes. So I'm really into telling jokes now.
but yeah,
And
that's the
Yeah.
and how long do you have to do these sets for?
I'm hoping to be Fiona Colley's opening act, if you know who that is. It's like the America's Got Talent for comedy here in Austin now.
that's what you
Okay,
want to try to do.
That's what I'm trying to do every week. I have signed up 93 times as of this week without getting picked. I'm calling myself Debbie Does Austin by Wheelchair Confessions of Kill Tony's Greatest Loser. So if I don't get picked by 100 times, which is in September, then I'm going to go ahead and publish as Kill Tony's Biggest Loser because I never got picked. It's been 2 years signing up every week. I feel like I would get an AA show. Seriously.
so so you go there and then everybody signs up to try to get on stage, and then they just randomly pick, or how does that work?
200 and 300 human beings stand in line. And I get there sometimes as early as 3:30 until 6:30 for the sign up to begin. They have two different rooms. One is a little boy room, which is a regular open mic, and then also the Kill Tony show that starts at 8:15. And when it starts, they may pull maybe 10 people all night long. So you have about a 3% chance of getting pulled. And
Oh,
out of that, he does have some callbacks that he has, so it's not entirely random, but it's pretty much random from what we can see. I've been the first one in line at least 80 out of the 93 times, so I know he's limp wristed and never goes to the bottom of the bucket, But I just keep hoping and keep showing up. And
Uh,
I
that's all you
really
can
enjoy
do.
from all over the world that come in and try out. And
do,
after I was long enough, I became a regular. I got to drop my school stamp.
do you go? Do you write new like a new comedy set every time, or do you kind of have your same staple jokes and kind of just improvise or change things up week to week, or how do you do?
I write 4 new minutes a week, and every week I try and put that best together for that 1 minute for that Kill Tony tryout. But I also do that 4 minutes or 3 minutes differently all around town. But yeah, I try and come up with at least 40 minutes a week. I think that is the most important thing to me is that I have stuff written. Because if you get picked and you go on tour and you don't know what you're going to say, that scares me.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I would think. You'd have to have quite a bit of material because usually, like on the tour, it'd probably be more like 15, 20 minute sets. I feel like a lot of times instead of a little longer of a set.
Yeah, and some of the comics that have disabilities, they're very careful not to make disability other jokes about their body or about their disability, and so they have a lot of pride on that. I think it's funny. I wearing diapers, nobody talks about it. I like to raise awareness of what it's like just by being honest. And I think that's helpful to people in the long run, and if you can connect with them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
one of my favorite comedians is Josh Blue.
Oh, I love.
And yeah, and I'm sure you do with the blue hair here, and I like it when he makes fun of the type of disability he has, and one of the funniest jokes is when he's like looking at his other arm that that's just moving around, and he's like, "Whoa, what are you doing there?" And always kind of just. I think if we can't laugh at ourselves or our situation, you're gonna probably be a miserable person. You got to sometimes you can be mad and you can be angry at some things that happen because of your ability or disability, but if you can't laugh at it, if you can't make fun of it for yourself, then it's going to be a bumpy road for you. And so I always try to make it as best as I can, as a fun thing to make jokes about my disability, especially with my wife, and we get a kick out of it. So I think it lightens the mood of what we're really going through.
Yeah,
yeah,
the worst
no,
thing for me is that I get really angry about dropping stuff all the time. So one of my jokes is I drop everything but LSD because my life's already a trip.
Uh,
that's a good one. I
well,
like.
we have to get you. We have a buddy that lives in San Antonio, and he's on our Rolling Over the Hill show, which is our aging show, and he makes uh, a hook it so you can pick things off the ground very easily. We'll have to get you one of those,
Yeah,
Debbie.
I know that's and he's local to you.
Go over there to do Poke the Bear in September. I'll be over there with Hank Garza's show at the Tandem. I'm not
Okay,
sure.
Let him know.
we'll make
I
sure
feel
he
like
comes
that's
and works
something
with
Chad would like to do too. Even I feel like
you.
that's something he would enjoy going to do, like hang out and do.
Everyone should try this if you want. I mean, just to get up and talk, it feels good to get something off and to have attention. I mean, people don't see me in my chair. I don't know how much you guys go out, but they're looking up here, and like I'm in a crowd. I don't exist sometimes. That's why I'm so bright and so colorful. And
Yeah.
if you get hit by a car once, you want them to see you the next time.
Ah,
That's a good. That's true. That blue stands out a little bit.
yeah, I asked you before the show, but really, it's something I want to ask you during the show. So tell us about the blue hair and how long have you had it, and tell us the story about it.
Okay, I had long blonde hair to my waist until I got hit by the Tesla, and I didn't have family nearby or friends that could come visit me and help, and so my hair got matted up real tight and could not be brushed out, and so it had to be cut off. And the lady Ebony came and shaved my head there, and left me a little bit that she could. And when I looked in the mirror, I had a brother that passed away at 27 from AIDS, and I had lost so much weight that all I saw was my little brother, and it was so hard. And so I dyed my hair blue when I came out, and I've had it blue ever since.
That's
Nice.
great.
And people come up and ask me if that's my real hair, as if it grew. I mean, I know they're wanting to know if it's a wig, but it's funny. And I'm like, and I get other questions too about, does it match the drapes and all that.
That's
Yeah.
funny, but it makes
What
you also
out
as
of
a
here,
comedian.
I got my hair in. I said, "Are you sure that's where it came from?" I don't know.
But I'm sure as a comedian who wants to be called back, it's a way to be recognized and remembered that, oh yeah,
Yeah.
you know what, the gal with the blue hair, she was funny, let's have her back.
Well,
Does that help?
people in all parts of town remember me because I'm so unique. Now, Austin, there's a lot of people with dyed hair, but not like this in a wheelchair and not moving fast. I get a lot of comments about how fast I'm driving down the sidewalks because my chair goes 6.5 miles an hour. And I mean, I
You
enjoy it.
max it
It's
out, full
good, you
speed.
know. Well, if you drive the same path every day, you know where the bumps are, you know where the holes are. I wouldn't recommend it anywhere, right? Because potholes can kill you. I flipped my chair to the right, to the left, and straight back. I have never flipped it forward. I believe that would be deadly. But my skin never touches the ground anyway. I flip it in a quantum, and I wouldn't have anything else.
Dang,
Although
yeah.
I'm trying to find a lightweight chair because I want to get on stage easier sometimes. And if I go on tour, like I had to ride the Greyhound bus to Houston, you can't take a power chair there. So, but
Okay.
yeah, I like to be able, and I could carry anything I want on the back, you know. And it was hard to learn to carry the leash and walk with the dog with the, you know. But people say multitask. I'm on the phone drinking coffee, walking the dog with the leash, and driving my chair. That's my day.
Uh, no, that's fun. Yeah, no, that is cool. And I noticed too that your chair does also match the blue. It looks like you
Oh
got
yeah,
blue accents all over the blue nails,
yeah.
everything. It's a that's
Oh
cool.
yeah. Oh
You
yeah.
got your style, and I'm sure people do definitely recognize you as you're flying through the streets.
So you want to hear one of my favorite jokes?
Let's hear it.
Is it
Yeah,
clean?
Absolutely,
we look.
Is
absolutely.
it clean? All blue haired ladies, we know things. I'm telling you, by this age, I know when I had too much to drink. Unlike you youngins, because my diaper leaks.
That's great. That's great. Um,
Favorite.
so earlier on, you were telling us a little bit about starting, having a little bit of disability at a young age with your scoliosis. And tell us about how aging and your disability is affecting you.
Well, when I was a little girl, I developed cancer, but no one knew it. I had a lot of pain, and I would pass out at school. I was always the slowest one in gym class, or the next to the slowest, and so I really didn't have a good experience with gym and stuff, and it didn't make any sense why, because I wasn't, morbidly obese or something. But then when I was 17, they found out that I had a cyst, and for 2 days I had the largest one that was ever found in a human being alive, and it was the size of a football that they cut out. And so I've been, my colon and stomach have been adjusted. It's difficult,
Been
eating and stuff.
compromised.
Yeah, and then the trauma of no one believing me when you're dying, and the things that I went through trying to get care, for and treatment for the cancer was very traumatic, and so I ended up on psychiatric medication, and I was, but I didn't get on it until after I was in a horseback riding accident. I was married in '87, and I was in the Superstition Mountains outside of Phoenix, and we went on a trail ride, and I decided to be Joe Cowgirl, so I got on the biggest white horse, and that my daughter and my husband went ahead of me with the trail rides, and my horse saw a snake in front of it, and it bucked back, and a pack of dogs from the neighborhood came running up at the same time, and the horse freaked out, and I grabbed back, and it bucked back, and it fell on top of me, and it rolled across my chest, and it broke my ribs in 12 places and injured my spine then. And they said I'd be in a wheelchair then, but it was another 10 years before the Parkinson's got me because I just kept walking. I just keep exercising, And I didn't have a car, so I didn't have a choice.
And how about
Yeah.
now with the Parkinson's later in life now? Like, how is it? You said it's not really progressing anymore since it was more the
Well,
drug
I
induced,
say
but
yes, no.
are you still?
Okay. Well, the word crip or cripple came from Parkinson's. That was where they had a word for Parkinson's, and it's that over shaped like a creep, that I'm a creep, that song, that's where it came from. So my posture is getting more and more bent over towards the ground. So I wear really high heel boots, and a drag queen years ago taught me how to balance my weight backwards with my hips, and so I can keep my balance that way. But I can't even stand up hardly in tennis shoes because my posture is so great, and my head from the surgery in my neck is real forward too. So I don't know if you can see I'm in it. I have to have a
Yeah,
tilt seat. It looks like I'm
Yeah,
looking forward, but I'm like this if I were sitting up straight. I can't even see in front of me to drive my chair
yeah,
without
I
a
can.
tilt.
Yeah, I can see with the neck now. You're kind of trying
Yeah,
to bring it
yeah.
up straight. And it seems
But the
kind of.
dyskinesia and the migraines are really bad. But it's not that bad considering. I mean, see, I see many worse things out there. I think I got one of the good ones. I like to joke about it would have been great to be in a wheelchair when I was younger because I'd only have to do half as much ironing.
half of what?
Ironing?
Half the
All
ironing.
right, just for the upper half.
That's funny. Yeah,
And do
that's
you have like, do you have any chronic pain or phantom pain because of it?
Oh yeah, I've got incredible chronic pain. I'm on medication and I use medical marijuana, which took away most of the stuff I was having to take from my stomach. I was down to 80 pounds. I'm back up to 110. I didn't believe in it and was kind of against it in general. But when I was paralyzed, the doctor put me on it in the hospital. It's the only thing that would work for me to come back from the paralysis. And I probably would have starved to death. And I can't sleep without it. So I'm real grateful that it works for me. But yeah,
yeah.
I'm on pain medicine. I'm on muscle relaxers all the time, and then uh, other miscellaneous stuff for the other stuff that's wrong with me. But the Parkinson's pretty much I take a dopamine agonist for it, instead of the regular Parkinson's medicine that a lot of people take because mine is the specialist in Houston at the Baylor College of Medicine Parkinson's the Movement Disorder Clinic. They gave me a DAT scan and they said that they did not think it would progress in me like it did other people. The Parkinson's part, now the spinal injury, yeah, but as far as the brain damage should not get much better, is what I'm saying. As long as I don't keep taking the medicine that did it, and those kind of medications work by blocking part of your brain, but when they damage it so much, they quit working anyway. So I would have had to learn to sleep anyway. So I'm just kind of glad that things are working so well for me today.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
no, that's a medical marijuana cannabis is something that we've talked about. I used to smoke a lot. I don't smoke anymore, like for recreational purposes, but I do like little tablet edibles. Like I have little, they're like literally just these little 25 milligram tablets that I take, and I can take them morning and then lunch and then night before bed, and just kind of like a dose my body because otherwise I just have a lot of spasticity and a lot of like a lot more nerve pain and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm in the compassionate use program here. I'm registered legally, can take it, which a lot of people can't here yet. And so I'm pretty out about it because of the need to make it available to more people here. And so I
Yeah.
try and talk about it when I can, even though I'm in recovery.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah. The only thing, it's good for you because you don't have the high prices like we do. Because back in the day when you had to have a dispensary card and all that, the prices were low. And then once they legalized it here in California, they now it's skyrocketed and they can charge a lot. So be
They
careful of
charge
that.
a lot here. It's a trial program, and it's not free at all.
And
Yeah.
you can
No, I didn't.
here in California, you can, if you have a disability, like you can get legit medical cards now. Back in the day,
Uh,
they used to just give them to everybody. You could just go. They had doctors that were just like, "Oh yeah, I get the headaches, or I can't sleep great," and they just were signing it off. Now they're actually more legit doctors that do medical cards, and the dispensaries do give discounts because they understand that you have a true need for the product. It's not just your recreational use. So we have
yeah,
that
my,
here, but that's it. That's all we really have
yeah,
available.
mine's through my neurologist who has to see me in telehealth for that one prescription because of the laws here. They don't do that in person, even though it's the same doctor I see in person. It's just they got to do the workaround they can to protect their businesses. I understand that, but yeah, it's made a big difference in my life.
Yeah, that's
That's
good.
really
That's
great to hear. And
and so
anything? Oh, go ahead.
go
Physical
ahead.
therapy is the most important thing.
That's what I,
People really don't talk about that in OT. You know, someone coming into your house and teaching you how to get out of your chair, and I mean that is the most important thing I think that I did was lots of physical therapy and then going to the gym afterwards.
well, that's what
Yeah.
my question was just about to be. Was just, are you still like exercising, doing therapy on your own, like just daily? Yeah, you do. Stay
I
very
go to the
active.
gym. I try and jog when I have the rails on each side. It's pretty funny, but I try and do it, just to raise awareness, keep people out, But yeah, I don't try and do it outdoors at all. And my knees are bad too. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
fun to watch people's faces when you stand up because they think you like maybe it was an act the whole time since I'm a comedian, you know. But I don't know anybody who would actually do that on purpose. It's so hard.
Well, Shawn, you want to? We got to start wrapping up, but we got some sponsors to thank, and then I got a couple last questions, and love to have a last thought from you.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and do. We can do the wrap stuff, and then we can do the last couple questions and wrap up. But yeah, let's real quick. Want to thank our sponsors, mobility professionals and urology professionals. If you're here in the Southern California area, Mobility Professionals is a DME that services all of Southern California. And if you need a wheelchair, or standing frame, commode, any of the larger equipment, scooters, things like that, give them a call. All the information is down below in the description. They'll help take care of everything, so you don't have to do much, but give them a call and sign up, and they'll do it. And then Urology Professionals is their sister company, and they are nationwide. So if you need catheter supplies anywhere in the country, they can ship them directly to your doorstep. Um, and great customer service, are great people. Our friend Dean, who is a quad also, works there, helps people out. If you guys even need type samples, things like that of catheters, give them a call, and they will definitely try to help you out. And we appreciate them and all of you guys watching. We appreciate everybody in the chat, everybody that's just watching and hanging out, everybody watching after as well. And then, so for this week, later this week, actually on Thursday, we actually have Rolling with the Golden Oldies coming up on Thursday. So we got the ladies coming on Thursday talking about aging with a disability. So make sure to tune in on Thursday to hang out and chat with them. And then also next Tuesday, um, where's Bobby and I will be back for another great live show. And where did I put my thing? I accidentally switched that one. Okay, I gotta upload our normal banner again. I thought I had it on this one, but I think I only did the other. I'll do it in a second. But anyways, we'll be back again next Tuesday with another great show for you guys. So make sure to tune in. 3:30 both Tuesday and Thursday. Um, and yeah, so Debbie, did you have a couple questions, then Bobby, and then we can
Yeah,
wrap.
I just two things because it sounds like that book would be an amazing read. Leah was asking about it, and so where can we find the book? And is it something we can purchase on Amazon?
The new one will be out on Amazon probably before Christmas. I don't have a release date. I can let you know that later. The other one is
Okay.
available through austinmhc.org. It's called We Are the Shack. Open your mind to see all people. And it's the stories of 28 members of that are disabled of Austin mental health community and their stories of resiliency. And
That
Okay.
one's on Amazon.
yeah, but you can get it through the Shack website more directly. It's
Okay, and that supports your.
austinmhc.org.
And they,
And they
yeah,
also
they
have hybrid classes that people could sign into if they ever want to have some discussion groups. Or we also have a seated Tai Chi that I go to every Friday, which is fabulous.
that's great. Nice, nice. And tell us when you're going to be on stage again for comedy. And
Well,
um,
look for me on Kill Tony because I keep trying every week. But I will be coming to San Antonio next month, and I play all around Austin all the time.
And we'll try to share sometimes. Deb sends us some stuff on Instagram, so we'll try to share your stories and things when you're doing shows and try to promote, see if people come support you and check out your
And
comedy.
we'll make sure we get that description of where to get the book, and
Yeah.
let us know and when your new book comes out so we can promote that.
This was the first one. It's We Are the Shack. Let's see if
Okay.
I like
There you
Yeah,
go.
and
We are the
it's at
Shack.
that website. Yeah.
All right. I'll make sure to get that up in the description as well. But I do have both of your Instagrams in the description already, so make sure if you guys want to follow and check out her journey, make sure to follow that on Instagram. And yeah, we'll get your YouTube in here too, right? You said
Yeah,
you.
Debbie,
I don't have
that's
that one in
awesome.
there, but I'll make sure to add that right here too. So
Thank you.
What's your YouTube? Debbie does what?
Debbie does awesome by wheelchair.
Debbie does
I
awesome. Okay, we'll look it up. Yeah.
have a website, debbiedoesawesomebywheelchair.com. I know they're wrong, but you can't admit it.
Any last thoughts before we head out?
I just roll with it, y'all. Just
There you
like I
go.
say, when life beats you up and you got to start over, like I'm always having to do, I just say, Jesus, take my joystick. We're going home, Pearly Blue. After all, y'all, it is a joystick, and I'm creatively able.
nice.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Deb, for joining us. Thanks everybody that's for watching. We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next time. Live to roll.
Live to roll.